places in the world, and there's a certain feeling of we are needed. We are needed here for certain things. And if we are not needed here, is it enough for us to just go, all right, well, just pay us a royalty then? Like, I think societies have to understand people need to be needed.
Yeah. And the crudeness in which people's productivity now is being described is kind of mind-blowing. Like, for example, Muskism came out on Harper, which is part of HarperCollins, which is part of News Corp. And recently, the CEO of News Corp said that we, News Corp, are an AI company, and we cherish our publishing sector because we're always going to need new material to basically be fed into the AI models.
Holy shit.
Right, so, you're sitting there as an author.
That is now our purpose.
Right, doing your level best to criticize the whole apparatus, and you say, oh my gosh, this is just feedstock, so that I suppose the LLM can spit out a critical perspective on its own industry.
Well, you see it even in the meetings when the tech guys are talking to each other and their shareholders versus when they're public facing. There was a quote that I remember from, and I can't remember the name of the, one of the AI, the oligarch dudes, but he said, what AI will offer us is productivity without the tax of labor.
Right.
Referring to human capital, referring to your employees as that is the tax that we have to abide by to get our productivity.
Right, and you compare that to previous versions of revolution insurance, as you say, or reformism, which were based on the dignity of labor. Right, it was about protecting the dignity of labor, not just seeing labor as like a payroll.
Now, was Ford, did he recognize that, or was he dragged to that? Was it the fear of, because this is, when Ford is making his bones, you are seeing the Bolshevik Revolution, you're seeing the czars overthrown. Is he, and goes back to our earlier point, do they understand this because they're human, or are they dragged to it because of fear?
I mean, I think it's best to see them as being pressured to it from, the forces that encircle them, right? I mean, and it's another way that the past era is so strikingly different from the present, right? I mean, we live in the United States, walk into the middle of cities, you see museums, you see universities, you see all of these things, libraries that were endowed by that previous generation of oligarchs because of a recognition that they needed to meet the population halfway and find some kind of way of giving back, however symbolically and partially, part of the wages that are being taken from them every day in the workplace. And what's so still to this day amazing to me is how the Silicon Valley class feels no need to do anything even comparable. In fact, the Musk Foundation is one of the best capitalized philanthropies in the United States, and yet it's sued every year by the IRS because it doesn't pay the minimum out to anything to count as a charity. I mean, it's really that bad.
Haven't they, though, there's sort of that strain of it called effective altruism, which they, would purport. That was kind of the Sam Bankman-Fried of, the only point of this kind of pursuit is to get so much money that you can give it all away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually think that effective altruism is kind of underplayed as being still really significant in this story. Because another correlated philosophy is long-termism, right? Right. Which is that you actually need to do the things that will create the breakthrough technologies which will allow for the future propagation of human lives, millennia into the future. So to think in the short time frame of how can I make life better for the present number of people on Earth or even the next few generations is actually way too narrow-minded. And you need to say, how are we going to be able to colonize the planets, set up, Dyson spheres around all of them and have, sextillions of digital lives unloaded onto these mainframes that now become interplanetary. If you take on that way of thinking, and Musk and Altman were at the center of that discussion in 2015 when they started OpenAI, then you've basically delinked yourself from all the normal impulses of humanitarianism and charity that would lead even someone like Bill Gates to say, like, hey, let's make lives a little longer for people in the third world.
You let me have a monopoly on software and